This episode is brought to you by HighSpots.com. HighSpots.com is the leading provider of professional wrestling and mixed martial arts merchandise. From wrestling boots to wrestling DVDs, wrestling action figures to title belts, HighSpots.com has the largest selection of wrestling merchandise. Go there right now with our link, tinyurl.com/STS HighSpots. STSHIGHSPOTS. Shop there with that link. It won't cost you any extra, but it will help support this podcast.
63. It's Who Wants to Be the Best Shizniter Ever, and the Golden Boy battles Frank D. Wilson. Here's a clip. Download. Listen.
This is up. All right, Golden Boy, in the second round, Vince hates sick people. It's been revealed that Vince does not like sick people. If you went into Vince's office, would you either sneeze, fart, or puke? And tell us the story and why. 75 seconds.
Well, I got to say, I think this question is actually a trick question. I think it's a slam dunk question, and I commend anyone who came up with this one, because if I'm going to go into Vince's office and I'm going to sneeze, fart, or puke, of course I'm going to puke. You know why? Because puking almost draws a job. So I'm thinking if I puke and I can convince him that I did it on purpose, well, let's face it, I think I might get a job. I mean, I may actually have the flu. I may actually have, Chinese SARS or something. I don't know. But if I go in there and puke, and then he gets mad at me, and I say, well, I did it on purpose. I just really want to work for this company, and I can puke on cue. I just have to have a little bit of, preparation first. Maybe he puts a 6-figure contract down for me. You never know. Maybe I'm on NXT, and I'm, puking on NXT for a while. And then I get to go on Raw, then I'm puking on Raw. And eventually I'm puking on pay-per-views. Eventually I get to puke on the grandest stage of them all. I get to puke at WrestleMania. But maybe I don't. Maybe I get in there and I puke, and then he calls me a disgusting whore, and then he just throws me out of the building.
All right. Your time is up. 75 seconds.
I think you end up in
Hey, welcome everyone. We're live from STS Studios with a special edition of Shootin the Shiznit. Today, this is Thursday. It came out a little late, but we are still on Thursday. STS Studios is cold, guys. It is really cold. We're on episode 80. Can you believe that? We're all the way to 80, and they said we wouldn't last to 13. I'm not sure who they are, but you know how they are. Okay, guys, you can reach me at comicbookmarkbt. That's on Twitter. BT Shootin the Shiznit on Instagram. A big shout out, a big thank you. I've got a bunch of thank yous somewhere here, and we're going to give them out. My buddy Bob McGee at Pro Wrestling's Between the Sheets, who keeps posting these. I do appreciate that. Sean Garmer over at W2Mnet.com. That's right. And my old buddy Gene Jackson lets me put them over there to localstolegends.com. Guys, if you want to sponsor the show, you'll hear commercials on how to sponsor, or you can always send PayPal. I have a few people that do that. Small donation to Brian _ Trammell, Trammell, Tramel, at yahoo.com. We are on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, Spreaker, Pod Paradise. We're everywhere, guys. SoundCloud. Just type in Shootin the Shiznit, and it'll bring you right to it, and Google. All the archives, episodes are at www.stspod.club, so you can go there and listen to all of them. I want to do a real quick shout-out to all my podcast bros, Suplex City Limits, Creative Control with JoJo, and Who's Right Podcast, which is not a wrestling podcast, but one of my favorite podcasts, and a shout out to Keeping It 100. Guys, I am a huge fan, not only because JoJo's a producer, but Keeping It 100. If you don't listen to Conan's podcast, go ahead, download the new episode, and listen to it today. All right, let's get on with the show. welcome everyone. Who wants to be the best Shizniter ever? 2017 Championship Part 2. Okay, so that I will just go ahead and say it, guys. You two guys are sitting in the seats again. I just want to say I fucked up. Okay, so what I did was we let the studio audience now. We actually let them vote. And so the votes kept coming in. We had it was real fun because Matt, you was actually destroying the Golden Boy for the first 2 days. Then we had the Golden Boy started creeping up back and forth for a couple of days. And for the last day and a half, I posted stuff and was just almost begging people to vote. But I didn't want to go on and, send it to somebody and say, hey, won't you vote, and decide to vote, because I didn't think that was really cool. But what we've done now is we have 9 people. There will be 9 people on the Shiznit Council. It will not go out to the public. You guys can actually be listening to this. You can just get on Twitter and say, hell, I think Greg won, or I think that Matt won. But we're going to give everyone 10 days. The Shiznit Council will come back in 10 days, and we will have a winner. You'll be getting a shirt, the poop pillow, and a big thank you to both you guys for coming in and doing this again. I guess we're going to get on with the show. We got Matthew and we got TGB. Matthew, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Matthew Essary from Nashville, Tennessee. Lifelong wrestling fan. I consider myself a bit of a wrestling historian. I'm just bracing for ice and snow here tomorrow in Nashville, so I'm trying to find my Best of Glacier VHS. But then I realized there is no such thing as the Best of Glacier, so I'm just going to watch some good old WCW to prepare and settle in for a nice snowstorm tomorrow, hopefully.
All right, and we got Greg Anthony, the Golden Boy. Golden Boy, how fucking cold is it in Dyersburg, Tennessee?
Well, actually, the temperature hasn't dropped yet. It's still fucking 60 degrees here. But this morning when I woke up, it said the high was 66 and the low was 22. Like, I'd never seen that big of a gap between high and low before.
Well, I mentioned this in the intro, but it's like it's same thing here. It started about 55 this morning. It's actually going to be 19 and lower, but before 1 o'clock. So it's cold as shit right now. So introduce yourself. If the people in the studio audience hasn't been following you and following this, at least you can tell them what you do and who you are.
My name is the Golden Boy, Greg Anthony. I've been a professional wrestler for about 18 years. I'm a former 3-ton NWA national heavyweight champion. And I really just want to get this shit over with so I can watch more of Jerry Seinfeld, comedians, and cars getting coffee.
There you go. I'm hooked on. I'm binging on episodes right now. So another good show with Joy from Friends. Me and you both are big Friends marks.
Yes.
All right, let's get on with the game. Now, first we have to flip a coin. So heads or tails, and I'll let you do it this time, Greg. Heads or tails?
Let's do heads because I like head.
Well, you like you like tails too, right? And I guess Matthew gets it, so he gets tail. Matthew, you get tails, and you get to choose first. Our categories, real quick, are this week or this championship is Cologne, Laffy Taffy, Boogie Wipes, and I brought some old categories back too. NWO, still on the board is NCIS, Siri, Odd Couple, and a couple other old ones. Bullet Club, and Good, Bad, and Ugly.
Okay, BT. Well, since we are post-Wrestle Kingdom 12, which really is always the show of the year, even though it happens in January, I got to go with Bullet Club for my boy Kenny Omega, who turned in another amazing performance on January 4th against Chris Jericho.
All right, I highly agree with everything you said there. But here we go, Bullet Club. It's actually the same question. So, like I said, I brought 3 from the original board. I couldn't come up with new questions. So here we go, Bullet Club. Name one wrestler, manager, tag team, or girl from the old WWE or WWF that would fit the Bullet Club gimmick. You have 90. No, we have 75 seconds. We've only played this game 500 times, so 75 seconds.
Okay, well, I'm going to go a little bit outside of the box on this one, BT. I'm going to pick a blast from the past, a grizzled old veteran, someone that the last person you could possibly think of. I'm going to pick the Honky Tonk Man. Because think about how the internet would explode if suddenly the Honky Tonk Man was out there managing someone like the Young Bucks. You could have him with his, to get a Bullet Club sprayed across the guitar. You could do his little Elvis impersonation thing. Elvis is huge in Japan. I imagine the audiences would freak out over it. Can you imagine the merchandise that they would gobble up in Japan for a guy who was an Elvis impersonator? And just imagine how much the smart marks would fucking eat themselves over the idea that someone like the Honky Tonk Man was part of the hottest thing in wrestling, man. Just imagine just the vitriol and the hate that come off the fanboys with old HTM there, besides Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and Marty Scurll and all those guys just doing his little hip shaking, burying everyone who ever came across the business, little act that Honky Tonk Man has gotten so good at, man. Just imagine how much heat that would get from internet smart marks, and how much the Japanese fans would probably love the absurdity of it. I mean, it works so great on both levels, man. You got just smart mark fanboys hating and just posting diatribes against it, and Japanese fans just eating up because it's basically ridiculous. You could have them in
Your 75 seconds are up. All right, Golden Boy. First round here. Bullet Club's the subject. Name one wrestler, manager, tag team, or girl from the old WWF that would fit this gimmick. 75 seconds starts now.
There's a lot of obviously amazing talent from the old WWF, and there's a lot of interesting scenarios, but I think the one that gets me excited the most has to be the possibility of our the late great Roddy Piper being a part of the Bullet Club, because I think one of the things that the Bullet Club lacks is the fact that they can't talk anyone into the building. They can do some amazing things, but they're a little light on the stick. So who would you put? Of course, the Hot Scott himself, Roddy Piper. And since it is the Bullet Club, who can shoot better than Piper? Who can really build up all these amazing matches that they're having at Wrestle Kingdoms and things like that than a guy like Roddy Piper? The Piper's Pit in the Tokyo Dome, that alone itself would be the most amazing thing we've probably ever seen. And what about Roddy Piper putting on the sleeper? You got guys doing. All these guys are doing drivers and brain busters and all this kind of thing, and then Roddy Piper comes out with the old school favorite, the sleeper. Plus, he would definitely draw people in from all over because he is an international star.
Your 75 seconds is up, and we got the second category. Here's the categories we got left. Second round. Cologne, Laffy Taffy, Boogie Wipes, NWO, NCIS, Siri, Odd Couple, and Good, Bad, and Ugly. Let us know, TGB.
Let's go with the Odd Couple.
Oh, the Odd Couple. So, the Odd Couple. The WWE wants to use that gimmick, the Odd Couple. You all remember the old TV show, and they actually did a remake just recently. It lasted 3 seasons. I guess we had like a drunk and a guy that was dirty, and you had a guy that was always clean and proper. So, what 2 WWE guys could we put in that spot? 75 seconds. You're on the clock.
I'm going to pass.
Whoa, now remember, guys, if this is the first time you ever listened, there's 1 pass per game. That means he passed it to Matthew. Matthew has to answer first. Then Golden Boy still has to answer the question. No more passes left in the game. Let me reset the clock real quick. And here you go, Matthew. Odd Couple. What 2 guys would you use that gimmick? You pick the 2 guys, and it could be guys from the past, now, whenever. WWE guys, the Odd Couple. You got 75 seconds.
Okay, I think I got this, BT. The guys I would put together, the true Odd Couple, the last possible pairing you could possibly think of, I would put The Miz with Bray Wyatt. And just think about the possibilities of these 2 completely opposed characters being put together. Think of the vignettes. Think of the skits. You could have Miz taking Bray Wyatt to auditions, and Miz trying to get a part and trying to get Bray Wyatt into these movies he's in, and Bray Wyatt's just being spooky, talking about his dead sister, talking about weird like voodoo hillbilly curses, and doing like this weird little crab walk in the middle of auditions while the Miz is trying to be this Hollywood player. Think about how funny that would be, and you could have Bray Wyatt go home to his compound, like you having like a creepy like you take straight to family dinner, and you have like the Miz and his wife there just being completely repulsed and revolted by everything that's going on around them. I mean, that's really the perfect odd couple combination. You got this flashy, good-looking kid in the Miz and his beautiful wife, and you got these really repugnant, goofy, creepy hillbillies in Bray Wyatt and his whole clan. I mean, what better odd couple could there be in modern-day WWE? Just think about all the potential comedy you could get out of that. Just imagine the tagging matches that they could have. Because they're both so talented, but their styles are so totally different.
All right, your 75 seconds. They're up. All right, Golden Boy in the second round. Odd couple. What two WWE guys would you put in this gimmick? 75 seconds. It starts now.
Well, in the Odd Couple show, they had to share an apartment. So what if in the WWE version, they had to share the company? So let's say Vince McMahon is our clean-cut, everyday, working out every day in the gym guy, and then he has to share the company with, get this, Ian Rotten. That's right, Ian Rotten from IWA Mid-South. Imagine the vignettes for that. Vince is trying to pay guys, and Ian's trying to, not pay guys. But, Ian's this, schlub that doesn't want to work out. He's probably eating pizza right now as we talk about it. And Vince is eating a protein shake trying to work out the entire time. And they have to somehow coexist to make the WWE work. You get Undertaker out, obviously eventually it gets split into factions. Obviously Triple H and guys like that are going to be on Vince's side. And then for some reason, Ian ends up having like Bastion Booger or somebody come back and try to be on his side. But I just think it would be a funny scenario to see what would happen on like payday. When Vince is signing checks and then Ian's over in the corner like taking nickels and off his chain belt.
Your 75 seconds are up. And Matthew, you get to choose this round. We have Cologne, Laffy Taffy, Boogie Wipes, NWO, NCIS, Siri, and Good, Bad, and Ugly left.
Okay, I'm going to go with Siri.
We're going with Siri. All right. Everyone knows what Siri is. We use it with the Apple iPhone. Here's the question we're going to give to Siri, and you tell me what Siri says, Matthew. Take me to the greatest place ever to attend professional wrestling. Start now, 75 seconds.
Okay, well, I'm going to give myself away as I'm always a Japanese wrestling mark. I'm definitely a Japanese wrestling fan. I think the greatest place to see wrestling of all time would be Kurikan Hall. I mean, that little shitty gymnasium building next to the Tokyo Dome. Think about all the great wrestlers who have been there. Think about, anyone who has been there. Chris Benoit, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, Antonio Inoki, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Shinsuke Nakamura. Any luchador you can think of. Mil Mascaras has been there. Everyone you could possibly think of has been to Kurikan Hall. That really is the holy land of professional wrestling internationally. I mean, you could say Madison Square Garden, but no place ever had the traffic of just pure variety of wrestling legends come through it like Kurikan Hall has in Tokyo, Japan. That little shitty building has seen everyone. You name me a wrestler, they've been there if they're anybody. And that goes for guys like Randy Savage all the way down to guys like Mike Quackenbush. They've all been to Kurikan at one time or another. And it is the mecca of pro wrestling when you think about wrestling as a worldwide phenomenon, which is really what it is.
All right. Your 75 seconds is up. This is your turn in the third round there, Golden Boy. Siri, take me to the greatest place ever to attend wrestling. You have 75 seconds.
I think the question, is usually answered with a where, but I'm going to answer it with a win, because to me, the greatest win for me, and I've said this many times, my favorite card of all time is Great American Bash 88. So take me to the Great American Bash 88. Take me to see Sting and Nikita Koloff versus Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Take me to see Barry Windham versus Dusty Rhodes for the United States title, in which Barry Windham has the Iron Claw on Dusty Rhodes for no less than 20 minutes. Take me to see none other than the Nature Boy Ric Flair defending against the total package Lex Luger. Not to mention, probably one of my favorite tag matches of all time, the Midnight Express versus the Fantastics, and the Fantastics win. They get to strap Mr. James E. Cornette with a leather strap. That's right. If you were going to take me to the greatest wrestling place, and it would be a win, it would be Great American Bash 88, my all-time favorite. I had it on VHS when I was a kid, and it is thinned out. I've watched it so much. I probably watched it 200 times on that VHS, because it is, without a doubt, pound for pound and inch for inch, the best of the best when it comes to professional wrestling.
All right, we're down. That was the 75 seconds, and we're down 3 rounds. And you guys know we're fixing to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
NFLShop.com is the official online store for the National Football League. It offers the biggest selection of officially licensed NFL merchandise online. Shoppers looking for jerseys, the game day collection apparel by Nike, and headwear from New Era will find what they want from all 32 teams at NFLShop.com. The season may be over, but you can still get all of your division-winning shirts as well as Super Bowl apparel right now if you go there visiting them with our link, tinyurl.com/STS NFL Shop, STS NFL SHOP. Shopping there with this link will cost you nothing extra, but will help support this podcast. Now, back to the show.
All right, we're back with the show, guys. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. I got all this newfangled equipment. It's supposed to make us sound better, and I'm still having a good time with it. So here we go. We're in the 4th round. TGB, you'll be choosing. We have Cologne, Laffy Taffy, Boogie Wipes, NWO, NCIS, and Good, Bad, and Ugly.
I think we're going to go with, because I'm just curious, Boogie Wipes.
All right. So I'm walking in Walmart the other day, guys, and they have a new product. It was in the pharmacy area, and it's called Boogie Wipes. That's right. It's these little wet wipes, which a lot of people will call butt wipes, but these are designed to get your boogers, okay? It's either for a child or a grown-up. It doesn't really matter. They use them to wipe your boogers. So this new product needs a WWE spokesperson. I almost said spokesman, but needs a spokesperson. So, Golden Boy, who's going to be the spokesperson for Boogie Wipes? 75 seconds.
Well, it's kind of sad that I actually used Bastion Booger earlier, because he would have been perfect for this. But I think I'm actually going to have to go with quite possibly the greatest salesman in the history of professional wrestling, and that is none other than the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, WWF Hall of Famer Jimmy Valiant. Because if you know Boogie, you know he can sell anything to anyone. I heard a story one time where they were on a road trip, and they were staying at a friend's house, and they got up in the morning, and the wife was cooking everyone breakfast, and Boogie was in the kitchen trying to sell that woman an 8x10. So I'm thinking, if Boogie can sell that, then he can definitely sell Boogie Wipes nationwide. Because let's face it, he was the first cool bad guy in professional wrestling as the Valiant Brothers. And let's face it, he has made more money at that gimmick table than anyone else. He is a icon. He is just our pinnacle of what paydays can be when it comes to that instance. So I'm going to pick handsome Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man, for Boogie Wipes. Get your Boogie Wipes. Have must say daddy, because they are available at Walmart.
Oh, that was perfect timing, by the way. 75 seconds is up, and we go to Matthew in the 4th round. Boogie Wipes, new product I saw at Walmart, used to wipe your boogies with. Who is a WWE spokesman that you're going to, or spokesperson that you're going to bring in to do commercials for Boogie Wipes? 75 seconds.
So the person I would go with is the American Dream Dusty Rhodes and his WWF polka dot phase. You just think about it, he'd be like, "Listen here, Daddy, we got these wipes here. They're good for your nose, Daddy. They're good for your nose. I'm gonna help you. They're gonna help you wipe these. They're gonna wipe these dots off my costume. I hate these dots on my costume. Remember when I was in American Dream, I didn't have to wear this silly costume. He could talk about being the son of a plumber and how when he cleans up at the end of the day after he does his plumbing, he uses boogie wipes and they make him want to boogie woogie. And he'd be like, "Daddy, listen here, man. This is real clean. I'm telling you, it's clean, Daddy." So I mean, and he would do his little like his little like herky jerky knee dance, and I just think that much like with Boogie Woogie, man, I think Dusty could sell just as well because he could talk better than the Dusty Rhodes. He could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves. I mean, Dusty could really sell anything. He could make something as silly as boogie wipes sound cool. I mean, think about he got up with that ridiculous list, with that ridiculous polka dot costume. He could get boogie wipes over. I mean, I'd buy their cases if Dusty Rhodes told me to buy boogie wipes, man. Because no one could talk better or be cooler about it than Dusty Rhodes, no matter what the ridiculous thing was he was talking about. I mean, he made a list and calling everyone Daddy.
All right. Your 75 seconds is up, and we're going into the last round. Guys, this is the last round of the 2017 championship. I promise you. All right, here we go. So, Matthew, you get to choose either Cologne, Laffy Taffy, NWO, NCIS, or Good, Bad, and Ugly.
Well, it's been a really great time, BT. So, I mean, it's been a bunch of laughs, and I got no idea what this category is going to be. So let's try to end it on a happy note. Let's go Laffy Taffy.
Oh, we're going to Laffy Taffy. Laffy Taffy. You guys know what Laffy Taffy is. Well, the candy company calls the WWE, and they want a spokesperson for Laffy Taffy. That's right. We're doing advertising. This is advertising night, it looks like. So who are we going to use for them? Who do they send and why? 75 seconds.
Well, here's what I think. Here's something I don't think sells enough products. He's really good on the mic. He's naturally funny, and he doesn't get enough credit, and that's Kane. Just imagine Kane trying to sell Laffy Taffy. You could have him wearing his goofy wig and the mask and the whole outfit, talking about the hellfire and brimstone. The only thing that makes the fires of hell bearable is the sweet, delicious taste of Laffy Taffy. And he could say it in that grim, serious way. Doesn't he have him open the package, take a nice chunk of it off, and start chewing it? And think about how funny that would be. You have the fire going off around him, just be all ominous, serious. Be sitting there just chewing on a banana, Laffy Taffy. Tell me that wouldn't catch on with people. Just the absurdity of watching Serious Kane with his ridiculous mask and a goofy wig, chewing like bright yellow Laffy Taffy. And at the end of it, he could say like the tagline of Laffy Taffy, it's hella good, or it's so good, and it blows my mind, and then the fireworks go off behind him. I think that could be the next, snap into a Slim Jim kind of thing with the Macho Man. I think you need that silliness, mixed in with the seriousness of a character like Kane. I think the absurdity would really sell people, and it'd be memorable. People would like that. I think it would be a really popular thing. And then you could have
all right. Your 75 seconds are up. Golden Boy, here's your, and we also are going to come back here for 60 seconds apiece to plead to the Shiznit Council coming up. But here's your last question, your last round of the 2017 championship. Laffy Taffy, the candy company calls WWE. Who do they send over and why? 75 seconds starts now.
I mean, to me, we got to go with none other than Doink the Clown. Who else could sell Laffy Taffy but Doink the Clown? But we got to go back, and obviously we've lost Matt Bourne, but he would have been perfect for the Laffy Taffy spokesman. And let's face it, he's a clown. He's a clown, and he sells Laffy Taffy. How perfect can that possibly be? And that's why it has to be Matt Bourne. It can't be some of these 1,000 other abortions across the independent scene that are claiming to be Doink, or some guy that played it one time on a house show. We're talking about Matt Bourne, the guy that originated, that invented it, and had probably the best laugh in the history of professional wrestling. Of course, he wouldn't just get it automatically. I'm sure a guy like Hugh Morris would want the spot, but, Hugh Morris would probably, be a little rough with the crew and would probably get released from selling Laffy Taffy pretty early. And then maybe we could even have the $1 Million Man step in because, he had a great laugh too, because everyone's got a price for Laffy Taffy. But back to Doink the Clown, because Matt Bourne was a genius when it came to this. He was the Jack Nicholson Joker / of clown wrestling. He was the guy that sold it, made it cool, made it right, and we still talk about it today.
75 seconds is up, and as just mentioned a few moments ago, Matthew, you have 60 seconds. There's going to be 9 members of the Shiznit Council. Tell them why you should win the Shiznit Championship. Time starts now.
Okay. Well, BT, I've beat this drum quite a bit, but I am just a fan. But I love wrestling, man. I've tried to always come up with funny answers and a variety of answers, and I tried to be clever in my thinking and think outside the box for these things. I've never really worked in the biz. I'm just a fan, man. I've gathered all this knowledge through watching tapes, watching DVDs, And I'm just like the guy listening to this thing, man. I'm not a worker. I'm not an announcer. Never reffed a match. Never called a match. I just love wrestling, man, and I like being funny. I like talking shit on wrestling. Who doesn't like talking shit on wrestling sometimes? It's a ridiculous business, but we love it, man, and I love wrestling. And, I think that comes across in the way and what I talk about. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to goof on it.
All right,
but
your minute is
love
up.
wrestling.
All right, here we go, Golden Boy. Your last plea to the Shiznit Council. Why you're the best Shiznitter ever in 2017. Go now.
As he said, he's just a fan, and you know what? The Golden Boy Greg Anthony, 18 years in the business. BT knows this. I've probably won more championships and been champion for more days in the last 18 years than any other man. But at the end of the day, I am still just a wrestling fan too. I love professional wrestling, always have, always will. But something that you guys don't know about me is that when I was having my heart condition and I was laying in that bed, the only thing that I prayed to the Lord for was not to get back in the ring, was not for my family or my children, but it was to be the best Shizniter ever. I needed that for my life. So I believe that this show has saved my life, and I believe the good Lord is on my side because I believe that this year, 2017, I was the best Shizniter ever. And you know what? God willing, I'll be the best Shizniter forever because I'm the Golden Boy Greg Anthony, and I'm as good as gold.
All right, your 60 seconds is up. Guys, your Shiznit is in the hands of the Shiznit Council. And for everyone here, join us. Same bat time, same bat channel for the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. Love my mama. And I almost fucked up my catchphrase. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. And Golden Boy, you tasteless, classless motherfucker, that was hilarious.